Hey, what's up, guys? I'm Brian Altano. I'm here with Jose Otero.
What's going on, Brian?
We are at, where are we? This is a very special
We're
place.
at Nintendo of America in Redmond, and we are here to specifically play Splatoon today.
That's right.
So we got to go hands-on with single player, but this discussion we're going to talk about
multiplayer.
That's right.
So tell me all about it.
We started with Turf War, which is the mode that we all saw at E3. We got to play across 3 maps,
Yeah.
and it was sort of just figuring out sort of the layouts of the map, special approaches. Like one had sort of like a lot of sort of pools that you would expect to see in like a skateboard rink.
Yep.
And so if you had like the roller, the ink roller, you would just ride down and lay down layers of paint. Each map had sort of a different idea or fundamental design.
Yep.
And it was basically a lot more of what we saw at E3, but with more variety, with more weapons to sort of jump around with. We couldn't switch our own weapons because we weren't allowed, but they had us switching between like the 52-gallon, which is a slower weapon that shoots out, but that you cause a lot more damage or you cover more area with less bullets.
And that's the point of turf mode, right? It's to sort of just cover everything.
Yeah, cover everything, and then at the end you get that Judd the cat sort of dropping a decision. And what's hilarious is that when he finally shows the flag, he just drops it like it's hot and you know, moves on.
And I really like that because it's sort of when you're in the heat of the battle and you're running around, you're shooting people like crazy. You're trying to do as best as you can. You're visually sort of understanding that you're taking over everything. But you finish a match and it tells you who won, and it pans out and it shows you this bird's eye view of this just like Jackson Pollock painting across this level.
It ends
and
up
it's just
looking
like splattered everywhere. And it's a really beautiful sight.
But definitely oozing with a lot of personality, both in single player or multiplayer, which I thought was really fun. Every time you hit an enemy, you hear sort of a pop, 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 like a paintball hit something, which is really strange. And then you hear them as they like get splattered. And you know, you can rack up splats, but at the end of the day, it really is about how much surface area you cover and how much you try to maintain control. So then we played Ranked Battle. Ranked Battle apparently is not going to be available at launch. We're still asking some questions there about what's going on, but the initial thing that they basically told us is that this is going to get rolled out because post level 10 is what you need to enter Ranked Battle anyway. Yeah. So, and the way they handle, so there's the sort of overall level which dictates equipment sets that open up, and you have currency that you then spend on getting those equipment sets. But then you have an actual ranking from A+, it looks like, to probably C-, and that ultimately dictates who you play with. So if we're C-, we're playing together, and we're not playing with anyone who's the letter A, like a rank A, because they're better than us, essentially. So that's their way to kind of basically separate people.
It's like all the classes I got put in high school.
Okay, sure.
I was looking for some sympathy there.
A little bit. But I did get to play a mode called Splat Zones, which was a lot of fun. Yep. It's basically, you know, there's one territory on the map that you have to control for a certain amount of time. The timer is clearly on screen, you know, in the center. Both teams have to try and vie for control of it, but the team that runs down the timer to 0 wins. What was great about that mode was instead of sort of Turf War where it's just paint everything and then sometimes you run into 2 or 3 enemies and you have to kind of react to them, you're trying to control one space, right? And so you're watching your choke points really carefully, and you're trying to make sure how do I keep them out? Yep. And special weapons really help. Like there was this big speaker, I think it's called the something Whaler, and just blasts out. We had another like a missile in Turf War that would just take out a bunch of enemies. It wouldn't really paint an area so much, but help you get rid of like enemies that are nearby. Yeah. Yeah. So it's a lot of fun, a lot of energy. Like the soundtrack reminded me a lot of Jet Set Radio, like just very funky and fresh.
I picked that up too. I really like a lot of the sort of the window dressing, the side characters. Like we saw some glimpses of the storefront and the shrimp that runs it. Apparently, he's like a weird He's like a reggae shrimp kind of. I guess that's the best way to describe him. The enemy design's cool. You can customize your character. There's just tons of lot of cool stuff. It's very different than what we've seen from Nintendo in terms of art direction and character design, but it's also very familiar in the way you can kind of pick up and play it, and anyone can, but it's going to take a while to really become an expert at this game. Yeah, ultimately, like, we're definitely walking away, I feel, with positive impressions. I just want to see more. What are the modes outside of Splat Zones? What else are you doing outside of Turf War? How long is single player?
Yeah, exactly.
A lot of questions.
And, there's still a lot of questions left to answer, but overall, like, what we played today seems like to sort of paint it in a really positive light, which I think did a much better job than E3 when we saw it initially, because it was one mode, it was sort of just Turf War, and it was hard to kind of figure out, well, what was this going to be? Yeah. But we still have more questions to answer, and we're going to bring you those answers right here on IGN.
So that's what we thought of the multiplayer side of Splatoon. We played it at E3, we played it at PAX, and now we got to play brand new stuff here at Nintendo of America. Jose, this is promising, right?
Yeah, so far so good. Let's just see more.
Sweet. For all things Splatoon and Nintendo, keep it locked right here to IGN.